Welcome to Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa, where the stories are good, the coffee's strong, and the charm is home brewed.
We bring you the heart of small town living,
One story,
one sip,
and one beat at a time. Welcome to Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa. Today we're buzzing with excitement as we welcome Nosey Bee Place owners Trey McCutcheon and Amanda McCutcheon, a local business dedicated to beekeeping, sustainability, and high-quality honey products. From supporting pollinators to educating the community, Nosey Bee Place plays an important role in our local ecosystem and economy. We're excited to learn how it all started and what goes on behind the scenes and what the future holds. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your place and how you got into the business, and give us a little background.
I guess I'll go first. So,
Yeah.
kind of started as a hobby 8 years ago. And just kind of one of those things where you watch the news, you listen to things, and you see, oh, the bees are in danger or whatever. Kind of thought, well, maybe I'll do what I can to help. So I ended up getting a couple of hives. I bought a couple nucleus colonies off of a gentleman, and then I started there. Those two started, off pretty well. And then I learned quickly that there's just no such thing as just two.
Yeah, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 16, and then how the rest of this goes.
Yeah, bees they're very unique, and that's just kind of what got me into it. They're just very interesting. So, and then of course, as bee colonies grew and they got bigger, Amanda came on board and helped me.
We met and I came on board.
Yeah, there we go. Better way to put it. And then
his hobby then became your hobby, right?
Yes, and I don't do anything halfway. So
Right.
I was like, well, if I'm going to help you sell this honey and market this honey, I have to know what I'm talking about. And now here we are.
And how many hives do you have now?
we try to stay around 50.
50 is a full-time job, and we have
Yeah.
full-time jobs, so it's
Oh, wow. Yeah.
a lot.
So it could be, a lot of work, especially early in the spring, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with, so, yeah.
For sure.
Like right now, we just got this massive cold freeze in. I mean, a 50-degree temperature drop or something crazy,
Yeah,
40
pretty much.
degrees. So what happens to the bees during the winter? Like, what do they do?
Bees' natural instinct is they cluster in the wintertime to keep the colony warm.
But
And
keep it 90 degrees year round. So it can be 110, it's going to be 90 in the colony. It can be -12, it's going to be 90 in the colony. So they naturally keep it warm.
And they do that
They do
themselves.
that
They
themselves.
do.
Okay.
Yeah. And they do that by the bees. They flap their wings just at high rate of speeds, and they just keep that energy and stuff up in the hive, and it just keeps it, at that temperature. This time of year, like you said, with the temperature swing, the worst thing about beekeeping is winter, because you've got to do all the preparation pieces to try to get them through it. And moisture is one of the biggest things that kills bees. And because of that heat, if you're not careful, it rises and then it rains down on them. So if you're not careful in the wintertime, the moisture is a big threat.
There's a saying in the beekeeping world, cold doesn't kill bees. Rain does. So, yeah, rain and food and all things. So our job right now is to make sure that they are fed and that they are treated, because this is a big time for mites. I'm sure you probably have seen mites are huge with bees. So this is a big year, where they'll start to populate in the hive. So it's our job to keep them fed and to keep them healthy. And then fingers crossed, they make it through winter.
Do you typically have some loss over harsh seasons, or?
We've been very fortunate. Last year, I think we lost 2
Two.
out of all of ours, which is very good in the beekeeping.
You lost the whole colony?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've heard people that, I know a guy that, lost over half of his.
Oh, wow.
Why? I don't know. But he did, and it just.
It's Mother Nature, you never know.
Yeah, everybody treats their bees different. They take care of their bees differently. But,
Some
it's
years are
just.
just different than others.
Yeah, and it's just no colony is the same. No queen's the same. The strength of each hive is totally different. So all those things really play a huge factor in getting it through winter.
No.
So during the winter, what do you feed them? Since you say you keep them fed,
Yeah,
and
what do
stuff
they
like that.
what do they eat besides pollen? Or do you feed them pollen?
So on warm days, we'll put some pollen substitute out, but inside the hive, we use a fondant patty that's pre-made. But before we got to that point, it's just sugar water, sugar brick. So in the winter, you don't put moisture back in the hive, so you're not feeding them sugar water. So you'd feed them a sugar patty. So it's just, what was it, like 3 parts sugar into like 1 part water, and you kind of create it into like a little brick, and that sits on top of them, and then they'll go up and.
And we try not to feed, but with honeybees, you know, they're not native here, right? So they consume a lot of food over the wintertime, especially with our weather's crazy as it is. You know, take last week, for example. There's nothing for them to collect outside. Everything's dead right now.
Right.
So all they're doing is just eating the reserves up. And we run double deep boxes. We have 2 10-frame deep boxes that we run. We always try to leave at least 50 to 100 pounds of honey on top of them.
Okay.
So if they do get to the feed, they don't have to eat a lot of it. But if you get these warm winters,
So they're only going to eat when it's warm. They're not going to eat when it's cold. Their primary focus is to keep the hive warm. But once it's warm and they can kind of move around and do things, that's when the resources kind of go out the window and they start eating.
So kind of like
So
last week.
we
kind of
almost
the-
prefer it to be cold because
I
then
got
we know that they're not going through their stores as fast.
Gotcha.
But when it's warm, that's when they want to fly. And I mean, I think it was last week that I walked outside and I had like 2 land on me, and I was like, well, hello, girls. Like, good morning. Go back home, do something productive versus bothering me. So,
So do you have like just bees swarming your house all the time then in the summer months or spring months?
it's not usually, no. I mean, sometimes, like if, you know, especially when spring starts and there's flowers in bloom, they've got other things that they'd rather occupy. But once it starts getting a little dry outside, they'll start buzzing around the hummingbird feeder, and they're naturally very curious creatures, believe it or not. I mean, there's old wives' tales that will tell you that you have to tell your bees what's going on in the world so that way they're calm and in the know. And so I take that a little literally, and I'm like, hello, girls. Today is 75 degrees outside, and we're going to do this. So I take it a little literally, but they're just very curious. So if I've got, you know, a soda on the coffee table, they're going to come over and see it. But they're just kind of wanting to say hi, and then they'll usually leave you alone. Now, when it's hot outside and there's no resources and they're a little testy, it's a little different. So then they're a little more agitated. But I mean, aren't we all?
Right.
Yeah.
In the summer, absolutely. Yes.
Aren't we all? So they'll mess with the hummingbird feeders a little bit, but more than anything, they just come check things out. And then if there's water, so if it's rain, there's a puddle, they'll go to the puddle. Or if it's on my car, they'll just drink the water off the car. But not really. I mean, they kind of leave us alone for the most part. Now, we have had a couple of swarms like land like right behind the house, and you're just like, oh, okay. Here we
Well,
go again.
well, I know when I've talked to you sometimes at the farmer's market, you were like, you know, I thought I was going to have an easy week, and then bees decided to escape.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that mean when they?
So
escape?
swarming is natural. So it
Okay.
happens in every colony. It's their way of splitting and making the hive smaller. So they'll basically what'll happen is they will raise a new queen inside that hive. The old queen will fly with a handful of bees to kind of start a new colony.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing. It's completely natural. It happens. It's supposed to happen. As beekeepers, we can try to limit that because, again, when they do swarm, they're taking half the colony with them. So now that one really, really strong colony is now half. And then bees are kind of expensive. So if half of them fly away, we just lost quite a bit of profit. So we try to keep them from swarming. I think that I'm under the impression that once they've got it in their mind that they're swarming, there's nothing that we can do. We can try, but
You can't reel them back in.
no. So we do put up swarm traps around the house, in the yards, and we had a couple places that we can put them, and we'll catch them. Hopefully, fingers crossed. If they do swarm, at least they go back into their box or go into a box, and then we'll start a new colony off of that. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they don't. It's always fun to watch them.
It's definitely
They have a
fun.
mind of their own, huh?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And they do it at the worst times, like the absolute worst times. Like last year, it was funny. I was walking out to go back to we have a gym in our garage. I was walking back there to go to the gym, and I come out, and I'm like in just like a robe and like my workout gear. I'm just walking out, and I see the swarm, and I call him, and I was like, "You're not going to believe what's happening." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "There's a swarm moving across the yard." He's like, "Well, go and get it." I'm like, "I'm literally trying to do something else." So luckily they went into a box and I didn't have to mess with them, but I'm literally standing outside in the front yard with just a workout gear on with a robe and just watching them move across. Like my neighbors probably think I'm crazy.
You're like, ladies, it's 75 degrees today. What are you doing?
I'm not supposed to do it. I've got plans. That's when they want to do it. I mean, there's been numerous times that like I'll be cooking dinner and I'll just like watch them move across the back window, and I was like, well, until you land, but you know, no problem.
Yeah.
So when they swarm, like, do you have empty boxes they go into, or they move into another colony and kick the other colony?
No, so they won't move into another colony.
Okay.
They collect on a tree branch, normally about 100 feet high, because why not? They'll go into a swarm trap.
Yeah, so that's what she was talking about, a swarm trap. So a swarm trap is just,
An empty box.
it's an empty box. Usually has about 5 frames in it, empty frames in it. It has plenty of room, and that's what bees are looking for when they swarm. They're looking for a place that they know they can grow in. And, you know, we tend to put a lot of swarm boxes up because, look, I'm just trying to be safe, you know, whatever. But, you know, that's what they do. They move into those, and then once they get established, you know, you'll notice it, like when they start bringing pollen and stuff in, you're like, they're established, cool. You can pull that swarm box down and you can relocate them into a better place.
So we'll go back into a hive,
and-
like a 10 frame deep box.
And when it comes to swarming, bees are pretty notorious when it comes to swarming, believe it or not. But every year I know that there's going to be a swarm land in a certain location because they tend to swarm back to the same location almost every year. And we've got
Different colonies.
different colonies.
Huh.
We have numerous spots. I know every year. Like I've got some boxes that hang on telephone poles, right? I'm like, right there, have one right there in the spring. Have one in it, sure enough.
One of our traps this year, we caught 3 different swarms in one trap this year. So we would take it down, put them into a new hive, put it back up, maybe another one we take down, put it back in. So,
Wow.
I mean, at least we're capturing them.
Yeah, that helps. Like
It
you
does.
said, if they're expensive and
They're not.
And we have people also that, you know, they have places at their place that are just notorious for it. And so instead of calling us to come and do a swarm removal, a lot of times we just put a box there for them, and it's like, you know, if you get anything in it, let us know. If not, then it just stay there, whatever. But, you know, trying to help out.
So you kind of do that as a service for the community as well, then?
Yeah, we do all this relocation, swarm collection. I try not to do too many cutouts. You know, bees getting somebody soffit in their attic or
Yes.
front porch or something. I usually
It looks like something out of a horror movie.
yeah,
when it
and I
happens.
usually
Yeah.
call somebody that I haven't called somebody I know because it's a lot of work. It can be very intensive, and if you don't do it all the time, you know, you just gonna
Cutting
mess
into
something
wires
up.
or something, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's guys that do it for a living, and they, you know, they'll come in and do it and feel like it was never there,
right.
and you're like, wow, man, that's incredible.
But we always tell them, like, make sure you figure out where they were coming in and stop it, because they will be back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make sure that you close off their entrance.
Right.
We had one last year where they were in like the top part of their attic, like those little vents that are on the outside of your
Uh-huh,
house. They
yeah.
had moved in there, and I was like, oh, I'll give you a phone number to call.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's like a little tall for me.
So you go out and do the removals too? Oh, wow.
We had it was a couple years ago. I had a cop called me, and it's always funny because the men are the funniest. So I've had 2 different ones. I had a cop call me, and there was one in a cedar tree, and I just grabbed a ladder, and I went in pretty much like I'm in now, just put a veil over my face, and I went up and got it, and like I could see him like peeking out around the corner. He was like, "Did you get him?" I was like, "Yeah, look," and I'm holding him on a branch and walking down the ladder with one hand and a bunch of bees. And then the road crew called me. They had cut down a tree, and they had really ticked off a hive when they cut that tree down. And so I showed up, and like they're all in their trucks. And I'm like, "Where are they?" And I'm standing there just like this, flip flops on, and they like cracked them and like, "They're over there." And I was like, "Okay." So it's always funny to see people's reaction. Like they're either super interested and want to watch me do it, which I have had people watch me do it. And I'm like, okay, I need you to step back a little bit.
Just in case.
Even though they're friendly right now, I've got nothing to protect, there's still bees.
And the thing about swarms are, just to be clear, they're very docile. You know,
Unless you cut their
swarms,
tree down,
they
they're
have-
not that happy.
swarms have one thing in mind, and that's finding a new home. So that's why they're not aggressive. 9 times out of 10. I mean, you can go up to them, put your hand on them, basically just. I'm not telling anybody to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disclaimer.
If you see a swarm in a tree or on a fence post or something, don't be afraid of them. Don't spray them with a water hose. Don't go get the can of Raid.
You start
Whatever.
spraying them with a
Call
water
local
hose,
beekeeper
they're not going to
to
be
come
as
and get
calm.
them. Yeah.
We love collecting swarms. I mean, who doesn't love free bees at that point? We love it.
I think it's just really.
They need a
cool.
home. You've got a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's interested in seeing how it works, you can go to YouTube and look at the stuff or go over it and look at it. But once you find the queen in a swarm and you put her in the box, the other bees will just follow right in.
It's like we've got so many videos of it's crazy to watch. I mean, once you capture her and put her in, I mean, there can be thousands of bees, and we'll just be like, okay, this is where she's at, and they'll just start, and you just walk away and come back that night, and all your bees are in the box, and it was that easy.
And the queen always stays in the hive, right? She doesn't go out.
She only flies when she swarms, or for mating
Well,
flights,
for mating purposes,
mating
yes.
purposes, but for the most part, yes, she stays in the hive.
And she only mates once in her life, up to I don't know how many dozens of times she'll mate in that one flight.
It's like
But
a
once she
minimum
does
of
that,
15 drones
yeah, but once she goes back, she's done, and she'll never leave that box again
until she swarms.
until they swarm out. If they just swarm out, not every box swarms, but if they do, then yes.
How long does a queen live?
On average, about 3 years.
Okay. It's a decent long time
Yeah,
for an insect.
And then
Is that what they are, insects?
Yeah.
Is that what they're considered? Okay.
and especially when you lay 3,000 eggs on average a day.
Right.
So you times that by 3 years, it's a lot of eggs.
That's a lot of eggs.
And then, so yeah, she'll stay in the hive, and then the worker bees. So they're all females, other than drones. Drones are the males, but all the bees that you are going to see outside are going to be females, and they live about 6 weeks in the summer and about 6 months in the winter. So.
So
a
not
whole
nearly
lot-
as long of
not
a life.
whole lot of a lifespan,
Yeah.
but they're leaving the hive every day.
Right.
So they're in more contact with things that are trying to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
where she kind of stays protected.
So it's female bees that go out.
They're all girls.
So what do the drones do? What's their job?
Their only job is to mate with the queen.
Oh.
That's it. They don't have a stinger. They don't collect resources. They eat all the food and mate with queens. So this time of the year, the females will kick all the drones out. So there won't be any drones in the hive right now because they're just taking up resources.
So it's happening late summer. They start getting all the drones out.
So where do the drones go?
They die.
They don't. And then we have to wait for new ones to hatch.
So then come spring, she'll start laying drones for the next round of queens, and it's really crazy. So they work off of pheromones. So the queen knows like when it's time to lay drones and when it's time to lay worker bees, and they all have a job inside the hive, and depending on how old they are, kind of dictates what their job will be. So it's a very much a, I want to say it's a democracy, but it's really not a democracy. She kind of rules it all.
It's a hierarchy.
It's a
Yeah.
hierarchy. but they do, there is some say. So like if they find a place to swarm, they'll go back and they'll flap their wings and do a little dance to kind of like tell the rest of them where they found, and they'll kind of vote on it to go there. So there is a little bit of democracy, but the queen's the one saying, okay, we're swarming, go find a place.
Follow me. Yeah. It's really. I didn't know all of that. That's really
There's
cool.
a lot of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They're very interesting. Like if you would have told me, 4 years ago that this would be some kind of knowledge that I have, I would have told you you're crazy. I would never have guessed in a million years that I would teach bee classes and be a part of this and on a podcast and I run the Spencer County Beekeepers Association, and I would have never thought in a million years that this is what I'd be talking about and doing, but here we are.
And where's your place located?
We are right up in Briar Ridge, right out past the state park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then people can buy your honey at the farmer's market.
So we buy it at the farmer's market. We have some honey on the shelf at Edgewater Resorts. And then obviously just get in contact. And if it's a winter time when there's no farmer's market, we can meet you, or you can swim by the house and grab it.
And you definitely want to get it more in the spring and summer because you guys start to pull back, right? Because the bees need that extra store for the winter, right?
So we pull about once a year. So that's usually late May, early June. And we may or may not pull depending on how the spring and summer goes. Again, closer to the
It's just
summer.
so seasonal, and
We don't control it. Like we can't.
You get what you get.
Yeah, I can't make more of it.
Summertime you get those 6-week dry spells and everything dries up, right? And then it's like some years you get lucky, some years you don't. Last year, one was years where it just dried out.
And we couldn't pull early this year. We actually pulled probably the latest we've ever pulled this year. But if you remember the spring, it rained for like
nonstop
6 weeks
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's rain. That's going to be good for the bees. It's actually the opposite because it's washing all the nectar out of the blooms. So that was, kind of, it kept everything alive, which was great, but it was also kind of hurting them at the same time.
Right.
So we have tulip poppers. So trees are huge for bees. Like that's one of their biggest sources. And so we have several tulip poppers on the tree around our farm. And I'm like, oh great, we're gonna have so much tulip popper honey this year, and we got none. But it was because they were blooming and it was raining, and so.
And then the black locust early in the year.
Yeah, so black locust like one of the first to bloom, and it always gets hit by the frost or the freeze. And
You can always tell when the black locust is in bloom because let's just say if you're down at the high school and you're driving up the hill, you just look at the trees and all the white, all the black locusts that are blooming. But sometimes you get that late freeze and it just
wipes it out.
wipes it out.
Yeah, ours got wiped out this year at the lake, so we didn't have anything this year.
Yeah.
So it's hit or miss.
What are some of the benefits of honey?
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits of honey is just the natural, just it being natural, right? The enzymes and everything. How do I say this? It's
It's a natural sugar,
it's a natural sugar, yes,
but it
it's
has
just
a lot of health benefits. So allergies, obviously, everyone knows teaspoon of honey a day. It's been proven to reduce inflammation in the body. There's some research that it helps with diabetes. We have a lot of people that actually buy our honey sticks for like little emergency sugar shots, that are natural. So, it still is sugar, so it's still sweet, but it can definitely be a replacement for sugar.
yeah, and people use it as a wound care.
Burns. Then there's all kinds of things that it's good for. I've seen people use it in skincare. Beeswax is huge for candles, but honey.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the beeswax piece. That's just another story in itself. There's so many uses for the beeswax. It's everything from salves to lip balms to candles to
Boot wax.
Yeah, leather protector.
Oh, yeah.
It's like so many uses for it. It's crazy.
I love nothing goes to waste.
Nothing.
Because even the comb, you sell some of the comb too, right?
The comb's actually edible, so you can eat it, and it's one of the healthiest parts of the hive because it's where all of their energy and nutrients go to. So that's the first thing they have to do. They have to build the comb to store the honey. So that's the healthiest part of the hive, if we're being honest. So it's completely edible.
And it looks really cool in the jar.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It is, yeah.
It's always funny. People are like, "Oh, you can eat that?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I never knew until I met you.
I didn't know
You didn't know
until my
that?
wife,
Oh.
until my wife said, I never get that. And she found it. So I don't know where she found it this
Well,
year.
she's not going to the Taylorsville Farmers Market, or she would have found
She
it.
don't go out of the house. She found it. She found it.
You gotta go to the Taylorsville
Yeah,
Farmers Market for her.
I do. But I didn't know that was a thing until she told me about it, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll see if I can find some. I think I wound up. I don't know if I got it from you guys or not.
But
Because I
like
do.
you did.
Yeah.
I may have. I think I did stop by there and pick it up and surprised her with it.
No.
And she was like, "Oh, where'd you find it?" I ain't telling you my secret. You ain't going out to get it out.
You have a friend in the business.
Right. Now you know.
We do. So,
Did you try it? Did you eat it?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
It did.
What does it taste? I mean, I guess it tastes like honey, right?
Yeah,
It's a little waxy.
Yeah.
So so you melt that down to make beeswax. So all that comb will actually be melted down to become beeswax. So you chew on it and it'll form like a little wax ball. And
you know what the best way to say? Remember those little bottles that you used to, the plastic bottles?
Coke
that
bottle, wax bottle things,
and you have the juice in it and you chew on that. That's what it tasted like with the flavor.
Yeah.
So.
I think I'll
will
stick to the
say,
honey.
and it could be me, but I feel like it's actually coming back around because when you sell at the market or anywhere, if we sell at some these festivals or whatever we go to, like Oktoberfest or whatever, like the older customers that we have always talk about, when I was younger, when I was a kid, and these are older folks are like, I just remember us just eating it right out of the comb, just eating it like
there'll
that.
be a frame on the table. You just grab a spoon and go.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm seeing now, like, I feel like the younger generation is getting more into the comb now too, which is really weird. Because we get a lot of kids that come up there, and not kids, let's say younger adults, and they'll buy it. And it's like, I'm just seeing that trend kind of come back a little bit.
Well, I think homesteading is kind of coming back in general a lot for the younger generation too. Things are so expensive, they have no choice.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we started the Central County Beekeepers Association, was because of sitting at the farmers market. We had so many people that were like, "Oh, I want to get into beekeeping," or my dad was beekeeper, or we've got bees on our farm but don't know what to do with them. And so we kept seeing this trend, and we were one of the only counties that didn't have a club or have an association. And so I started that 4 years ago. So we're 4 years deep, but there for a little bit we had one of the largest association members in the state of Kentucky. So we would have, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but there'd be 35 people, members for our club, which was huge. I mean, you don't get that at a lot of other clubs. So it was kind of fun to see that take off and see all of the interest, because there was a lot of it. We were noticing it,
And especially during COVID.
Especially coming right out of COVID, 2021 is when I started the club, and that was really when we were a really big group then, and we teach a big bee school. So we partner with Oldham, Bullitt, Kentuckiana, and Spencer, all partner together, and we teach a 4-week bee school. And I remember our first one, we're at the extension office, and the entire room was full.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like all these people are like relying on me to teach them something about bees, like, whoo. Okay. But so that was kind of fun. But I have noticed it dropping over the years. So I think last year I had like 30 people in attendance, and so it's definitely dropped some. I think people think that beekeeping is as easy as, I'm going to put a box in my backyard, I'm going to have bees in it, and I'm going to get all the honey I've ever wanted. And if only it was that easy.
Right.
So once people start hearing about all the work that goes into it, and then the money that goes into it.
Right.
And I always tell people, they're like, I want to keep bees. I'm like, okay, well, are you prepared to spend X amount of dollars? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, okay, are you prepared to spend 3 hours a night working on bees? And if they ever say yes to both of those questions, then I will go through the rest of it. If the moment they're like, I'm like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just buy my honey.
Well, it's the same thing with any animal, right? On a farm, especially. Everybody thinks, goats are so easy. Chickens are so easy. I'll have all the eggs I want.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean-
My wife decided doing chickens, and it's like,
Not that easy,
it's her game, and she can do whatever she wants with it. I stay away from them. I'll only tend them when she's got to go somewhere. But I'm not a big chicken person. But we've been getting a bunch of eggs, so I really can't.
Even still in the winter?
Yeah, amazingly,
Really? Huh.
amazingly, we're still getting almost a dozen eggs from.
Oh, wow. You don't have that many chickens.
No.
Yeah.
No, and we got some ducks. The duck eggs are pretty good too.
We bought our farm, and people were like, we're going to get chickens now? And I was like, no.
We don't have time.
Like, where am I going to put them? Like, no. Bees are livestock. I mean, I always, when I go and teach at the elementary school, because, it's, you gotta put it in smaller terms. I'm like, it's like basically having cows. We have to give them shelter, we have to give them food, we have to give them water, we have to give them medicine. there's just a million of them versus, a handful.
Right.
And so, but they're the same.
Yeah.
You have to do all the same things that you would do for chickens.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. Especially like you said, the mites and stuff. That's where I know about the mites and
yeah,
everything.
you have to treat, just like you treat
Yeah.
chickens. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I would like to joke, I'm like, yeah, can you imagine trying to give medicine to a bee? Like, that's how small that teaspoon is.
That's funny.
Kids love it.
Yeah. What about, so obviously we're in a farming community. So, we've all heard, I think for a long time, I think, gosh, as far back as when I was in school, which was not that long ago. But we heard, we have to save the bees. But I don't know that people really talk about, like, why they're so important to the ecosystem. Is that something you could talk about a little bit?
I don't know the exact numbers here, so.
I probably do.
But bees are the reason why we can eat, right? They're a primary, source to pollinate all of our products, all of our food.
You ready for some numbers?
Yeah.
About 70% of our food that we eat comes from pollination. So I want to say it's a 1.6, don't quote me on this, but I think it's a $1.6 billion industry. So if we lost bees, agriculture would lose about $1.6 billion. Not to mention 70% of our food. So anything that you think about that you eat, almonds, cucumbers, watermelon, cantaloupe, any of your
anything.
Corn, right?
corn, anything that you eat that's raw, essentially, probably came from help of a pollinator. And I'm not saying just honeybees. I mean, wasps are pollinators, flies are pollinators. There's other pollinators, but honeybees are obviously a huge part of it. I mean, there's people to ship bees to California to fund or to pollinate the almond field is $1 million industry. Literally, these farmers, or I guess they're farmers, almond farmers.
Yeah.
I guess they're paying beekeepers millions of dollars to ship bees in just to pollinate those almond trees. And when we were in California earlier this year, it was crazy the amount of bees that you would see. And then I didn't know this, but California also has a big orange fields. So there would be, all these orange trees, and then you would just see stacks and stacks and stacks of bee boxes for as far as you could see. So farmers are realizing, I think now, which I don't think was as wildly known earlier. Like, I don't remember growing up and being like, oh, we have to have pollinators. Like, I knew they were important, but I don't think it was that much of a push. And I think now that they've kind of seen what they can do and how better your crops are, I mean, that alone right there, is enough, I think, to get farmers to kind of pay attention to the pollinators. I mean, there's an old story, I can't remember the book, but there was an old apple grove, and it hadn't had apples on it in forever. And so they brought in one beehive, and that next year the apple trees bloomed for the first time. And then the next year after that, they had a handful of apples. And then the year after that, they had so many apples that they had to sell them, because that was how much the pollinators brought to that area. And we've seen that. I mean, even at our farm, like I mentioned tulip poplars earlier, when we first bought our farm as beekeepers, we're looking for those kind of trees. We're looking for those resources. And I'm telling you right now, we never saw them, ever. And last year, I saw at least 10 bloomed. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but it's weird that, we never saw them before. We had bees there, and now there aren't. So as far as agriculture goes, they're very, very important. I mean, if we lost all pollinators, we wouldn't survive very long.
Do our local farmers reach out to you about putting a colony near their farm, on their farm, or?
No,
We've had a lot of gardeners. Gardeners are big.
Okay.
Bees aren't really huge on pollinating like soybeans and corn, which is what we grow the most around here. They will do it, but it's not as wildly.
right.
Gotcha.
And as a beekeeper, we have to be very mindful of cornfields and soybean fields because of the spray. And if we have any colonies, if anybody has any colonies near those, cornfields, soybean fields, have to be very careful, because if they get the spraying, and that spray drifts and gets into the hives and kills the colonies. So you can look on the internet, you can see it where beekeepers that live nearby those places will cover all their bees with sheets when they know they're gonna spray, that way it doesn't drift in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But going back to how farmers have realized the importance, there's actually a website now where you can go and register your colonies. And farmers are supposed to go and check this before they spray their crops. And if they are going to spray crops, they're supposed to give us a warning. So with colony collapse, like a lot of that happened at the almond fields where they were spraying almonds and they were killing out half these hives because they weren't, thinking about the repercussions of spraying the trees with the bees still present. There's actually, I think there's a documentary on Netflix that talks about the almonds and how that all took place, and it's pretty sad if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are little insects, but they are very important little insects. And
Very important.
I don't like to kill anything
Mm-hmm.
unless it's a spider, but they're not insects. So they're free game, but it's interesting to see. But I think farmers have definitely realized the importance of bees and are taking it more serious than they have in years past. Especially the gardeners. The gardeners are big on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I visited a lot of our local flower farms, and none of them, I see plenty of bees and butterflies and all the different pollinators there, but to my knowledge, none of them have actual, hives or anything that they're keeping on their farm, and it seems like that would be so helpful to them.
Be easy,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. As long as they got 3 hours a night, and,
3 hours a day,
or yeah,
and
and some extra money.
some extra money laying around.
And bees will travel up to about 2 to 3 miles
Oh, do they? Okay.
to collect resources. So,
And there are still wild hives.
I was gonna say there's plenty out in the wild.
There's still
Yeah.
plenty of wild hives.
Yeah.
I mean, those are still completely in existence.
Well, I know that's why, like, when we plant our garden, we plant some flowers that are pollinators so that it'll attract the bees and then they'll take care of our garden.
It's funny because we did a tour of some other main streets not too long ago with Taylorsville Main Street. And one of the things we saw on a lot of the other main streets were they had little pollinator gardens in their green space on their main streets. And I thought, how cool is that? We don't have that. We have flowers.
I think the Spencer County Elementary School is putting together a pollinator garden
Behind
or
the
has
school,
one.
yes.
Yeah, or has
Yeah.
one, and then the extension office
Has
have
one.
They have
Yeah.
a list. They have a whole native garden or native grass. So the association has a hive. If you drive past the extension office, you'll see a white box sitting up on the hill. That's the association's hive, and that hands down does one of the best beehives that we take care of.
Yeah.
I mean they really go crazy up there, but that's all native Kentucky. Which granted, these aren't native to Kentucky or really to the United States in general, but they do take advantage of that.
I would just love to see some of the, the flowers and stuff that they like and give them a reason to come visit Main Street.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll put a beehive up on top of one of the buildings.
Let's not go crazy. Your hobby is still one of my nightmares. Let's just be real here.
So going to her nightmare, how many times have you been stung?
Today, none.
No, not today, but
It's early.
I couldn't even count. I couldn't even tell you. In a single day, I think the most that I've gotten in a single day was, 50 stings.
Oh.
Maybe. I mean, he's had to go to the emergency
it
room
just-
because he's gotten stung so many times.
it just depends on what you're doing and what kind of day it is. Like yesterday, I worked bees because it was so nice. I didn't get stung all day. But there's days where you're just going to. You just got to face it. You might get stung once, you might get stung 10 times. And I'm going to back up to what she said about the whole being stung bad thing. We did a removal from a granary about 5 years ago. And
They would not.
they were the nastiest, meanest bees that I ever laid eyes on.
Yeah. You can tell they had been left alone for a while.
Yeah, they did not want to be messed with. And that was one that every beekeeper dreads, because once you start, you can't stop.
And they were terrorizing this
So
poor house.
I probably took about 150 stings that day. Luckily, I'm central allergic, so I'm not like gonna blow up. But
He took most of his hands, and he couldn't shut his hands. Like, let's just go get it.
Yeah,
Let's
so-
get you a shot real quick.
and as a beekeeper too, most of us don't use gloves. because it's just easier to work without gloves. If I do, it's usually I use like a latex glove or something, right? But the worst thing for me personally, that I don't use the big bulky leather gloves. They're just a pain in the
Hard to
butt.
work with.
Well, I mean, you think about a bee is this big, and if I got these big gloves on and I'm like going at it, like, that's a whole lot more aggressive than like my little fingers going after it. So yeah, we stopped. I feel like I got more stings when I used the big gloves than I do now going gloveless, which is weird. I don't know how that works. They don't like black leggings or black in general, and that tends to be what I wear the most of. So
That's all I wear.
So when you're messing
Note
with,
to self.
when you're messing with a hive, don't go in looking like a black bear. They will attack. I mean, we were working them.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah.
We were working them a few weeks ago. I was like, oh, I'll just go out in my black leggings. Like, they're going to be in it's kind of cold. Like, they'll be fine. No, they weren't fine. And he was like, I didn't get stung at all. I'm like, I know. And he even, his wedding ring is black. And if he forgets to take his wedding ring off, he'll have the most stings around his wedding ring, which is, it's weird. I don't know how that.
So they can see color then.
They
Or
can-
some
colors.
Some colors, yeah.
They can't see the color red.
Yep.
Which is weird because most of your flowers are red, but they can't see that color. So
Yeah.
But as long as you're gentle with them, they tend not to bother you.
and you gotta tell them what's going on. I open the hive, like, hello, ladies.
Talk to them in the calm, soothing
Like,
voice.
we're going to be. There's no research behind it, but I swear because there was one hive that I would go into it and they were I could go into it with nothing on them. They were just the calmest, sweetest hive. If he even thought about coming near that hive, they were on him. And so that was my hive. I took care of that one 100%. But I would open that box and I'm like, good morning, ladies. Like, we're going to be so gentle today. And I'm like, look at you. And he's like over there shaking his head. He's like, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, am I getting stung?
Right.
No. Why don't you walk over here? So I don't know if there's any science behind it, but I do think that, dogs can tell if you're afraid of them. So I think that if you kind of go into that mentality that, like, you're afraid. There's research where they're trying to learn if bees can sniff out cancer. So, they clearly have a sense of smell. So can they smell
Fear.
Maybe.
I even heard that they were doing a study on bee venom for breast cancer.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it a lot of different ways.
There's been some research that have said that, like, if you keep getting stung in one particular area, that maybe that's something to look at. Bee stings are used for, like, arthritis and, what is it, apiculture, right? Apiculture, I think.
Yeah.
Or that's where people sting themselves for the venom, for the benefits of the venom. So there's a lot of research to it. There's been research where bees have sniffed out bombs. They're using them for good, and they're using their abilities. But yeah, breast cancer is one of the things. But I have heard that if you keep getting stung in one particular area, maybe
Have that area looked out.
maybe look at that.
Once again, we're not telling people to go out and grab it.
We're not giving medical advice here.
This is all rumor and hearsay.
For educational purposes only.
Go do
Or
your own
entertainment purposes
research.
only.
Go do your own research first.
So if somebody wants to get into beekeeping, where should they start? Your beekeeping association?
Start at the association. So meet the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30 at the extension office. It's $15 a year for your family to join, and that gets you access to member-only pricing. We have field days where people come out to the farm and mess with bees, and that covers that. Just got a ticket price. I think I've already said that for some of our events that we have. We do a big member appreciation luncheon once a year, so like it kind of just gets you included in all
We have
those things.
extraction.
Well, we have,
extracting
that's right, we have
equipment as
beekeeping
well.
equipment too. So we have an OA machine, which is oxalic acid machine. That's how you treat these bees. We're not giving them a teaspoon of medicine. They are getting blasted with oxalic acid, and then an extractor. So there's a reason right there to join. Because those two things right there are very expensive. So right there, if you're a beekeeper, right there is where you
Just gotta get to your second year. First, you're beekeepers, you don't take any.
we call you a beehaver or a beekeeper.
That's right.
If you make it past your first year, you are a beekeeper. If you don't make it past the first year, you're a beehaver.
That's funny. So it takes a while before they make the honey, huh?
The first year, you don't mess with it. Let them have whatever they want, and then the second year, you can usually pull some honey.
Very cool.
So, and then it just depends. Like last year,
And going back on that, it's because you want that colony to build up and want them to be strong. And if you start taking stuff from a colony
A
early,
new
they're
colony.
not going to build up, and then you're going to put them under a lot of pressure going into winter, and you're just going to be in trouble.
Makes sense. Makes total
And
sense.
we do that for even swarms are a different. So swarms are swarming to build a new hive, so they can fill up a 10-frame box overnight because they're bringing all those resources with them. So they're bringing the wax and the honey with them to put into their new colony. So they are the different exception to that rule. They will kind of to blow up pretty fast, but
If
Depending
you're
on the
starting from
size.
scratch, yeah.
if you're starting from scratch with, a nucleus colony. takes a
And
little
then if somebody wants to buy your honey, where can they do that?
You can find us on Facebook, so Nosey Bee Place on Facebook. Our email address is the same, noseybeeplace@gmail.com. And then we are in the process of launching a website. I just didn't want to launch it right now with it being the end of the season and we don't have a whole lot of products left. So that's the best way. Or you can go online and look up Nosey Bee Place and you're probably going to find our phone numbers on there.
And then you said it's, of course, when it's in season, I guess, or when there's availability, it's available at Edgewater Resort.
So there's some at Edgewater Resort right now, I do believe.
Yep.
They haven't called me asking for more, so it
Okay.
should be there. And then again, you can swing by the house. Just call first before you show up. We do have some dogs.
And then in the spring, you'll be back at.
Spring, we'll be back to the farmers market.
Perfect.
We should be there no later than the 1st of June.
Okay.
Again, I can't control when it comes in or how it comes in, but usually June is our sweet spot.
Exciting. Well, thank you so much. This was really interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
I learned
Yeah.
a lot about bees.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
There is. Don't have 3 hours a day. Though,
No,
so
no.
that-
Pulls me
my
right
hours
out.
are gone.
Yeah, I mean 3 hours a day. It's you know,
It's
3
really-
hours,
it's really
3 hours a
good.
week more than anything.
It's well in the spring.
As a starter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
when
one
a bigger
hive.
beekeeper, yes. Bigger beekeeper, you're definitely going to be way more involved than you think.
We have a friend. How many does Dave have? Dave has 100 something. Yeah, he's 100 something hives.
Oh my gosh.
And he'll send us a picture at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And he's in his bee suit. I'm like, you are crazy. Like it's too. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta go to work and at 7, so I'm gonna go mess with the bees for 2 hours. I'm like, no, no,
In the dark.
hard no. No. But he does it.
Yeah. Well, exciting stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. And
Thanks for
hopefully
having
everybody
us.
thinks a little differently maybe when they see those little ladies flying around now that we know they're ladies for
They are
sure.
ladies.
Yeah.
The guys are just lazy and just hanging out.
Typical. Typical.
Couch potatoes.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for all the information you gave us, and we wish you the best.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys.
That's all for today's episode of Small Town Pulse. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your day with us.
We'll be back soon with more voices, more stories, and more of the heart that makes small towns shine.
Until then, keep listening
Keep smiling.
and always keep your finger on the pulse.